Hi guys, this is Karen. Today I'm gonna show you how I mount these orchids to a piece of wood. So the piece of wood I'm gonna be using is this one. And just to give you an idea, you can use different kind of wood for this one, for example. However, this is ideal for a small kind of orchid. So, and we have another one right here. You can use this too. And yes, you can use fresh cut wood, and the ideal one that I recommend is driftwood because they are very strong and sturdy. The mother nature preserved them already, so you can use them for so many years. So the materials that I'm gonna be using, of course, this wood right there, and then orchids, of course, and this 12-inch clay drip tray, and twine, and we have the scissors that we sanitize already with alcohol. And let's get started. Oh, I forgot to add the moss. We're gonna need the moss right here that I collected from the tree. So this is the kind of moss I'm using for my orchids. As you can see, they attached to this tree, and I like using that kind of moss. Okay, so we'll get started. Also, I forgot to mention we are going to use a decorative stones also. Put it right there. So now we'll start removing the orchid from the container. Just very carefully. We don't want to damage any roots. Okay. Okay, wow. Okay. Now what we're gonna do, we're going to remove the bark, wood chips from this. And we're also going to check the root system. Make sure there's no damaged roots. If there is any, we can cut them out using our scissors. With this one, just a little bit. I just see a little bit of the one in the end right here. So we're going to cut that. And there. So you see there's still some bark that left sticking in there. That's fine. We can just leave that. Alright, now what we're gonna do, we are going to try to put them on the tree, like whatever design or however you want the orchids to mount in the tree. You can put it like right here, but I want to put 2 orchids in this tree, 1 in each branch. So, and I want the focal point to be in the front because I'm gonna be putting this in front of my windowsill in my window. So first we're gonna try to do this. We are going to spread the roots, so we kind of lay them flat on this wood right here, and then right there. Just be careful not to damage any roots right there. Okay, so I want my orchid to look like that. I don't know if you can see that. So I want my orchids to look like this. if you can see that there. And then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put a hole right here so I can put this stick to support the my orchid right there. So right in the middle. See if it can fit. Yep. And then I'm just gonna get a hammer and kind of hammer it down. So I'm just gonna give you a close-up look to this. So that's what I did there. So I kind of punch a hole in there where the this stick. And then now what we're gonna do, you see the spaces, I'm going to fill that with moss. You can use the sphagnum moss. If you don't have any live moss that I collected from the tree, you can also use a live a sphagnum moss. That's also ideal. So the moss will hold the moisture for this orchid so it won't get dry or dehydrated. Now some people might ask, why do I mount my orchid in this tree? Aside from they are beautiful, orchids are epiphytes. That means they love living on the treetop, the tree trunk. That's their natural habitat, is living in a tree. And actually the moss, they are co-inhabitant with orchids. Wherever you see moss in the wild, you also most likely you also see this orchid with moss. So moss gives moisture to our orchids. That kind of replace our bark or wood chips as a medium. And yeah, so I'm just going to fill this up with moss. Okay, I'm going to tuck in the moss underneath right there. I should have placed the moss before I put the orchids, but that's fine. That will work. So by drilling the hole for this stick right here, actually eliminate the need for the twine to hold the orchids down. So just be careful not to damage any roots. So that's what I did. I put moss under here, and I'm gonna fill more moss with the spaces around the roots there. So a good thing about this mounting orchids in the tree trunk is you're not gonna have a problem of overwatering, because the water won't stay here, you know, it's gonna drip down to the drip tray. so you won't that problem. You won't have any problem. So yeah, so what I'm doing, I'm just filling these spaces with this moss. Okay, and next what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put another orchid to this another branch right here. So the same thing, guys, I'm gonna be poking a hole right here in the middle. So you see this kind of tree, it's not gonna tip over. This is very strong. You are having this branch like this spread out, it's kind of balance the tree. So I suggest if you use this tree, get the one with the branches, you know, to kind of balance it out, and it's not gonna tip over unless somebody is intentionally knocking it down. So this is what I am using to make a hole there. Now if you're using a small branch of tree, you might want to anchor it. The bottom, you can put a piece of plank of wood to kind of keep it balanced and make it stay up. Okay, now I think that is done. Now I'm just gonna put the other orchids. So I'm gonna be using the same color of orchids. Here, I soaked this one already because I don't want it dry. So I suggest soaking your orchids while working so they're not gonna be dry out. And also just cut some dead roots. There you go. I think we got it. And then again, we are going to spread out the roots around this tree, like so. And then, I don't know if you can see, and then you see where I make the hole, that's where I'm going to put this stick right there. And then I'm going to hammer it down using my hammer. Now very gentle so you won't break this stick too. Okay, if you can see, I filled that with moss already, and I put a twine around it to kind of give it an extra support. I'm going to put moss on the top right here to kind of cover the root system. Give it extra protection, extra moisture. And also, if you can see, I have a big piece of moss I can put right here, kind of give it a dramatic effect, you know, and tuck it under the twine, kind of hold it in. And there. The same thing with another one right here. You can do maybe right here in the front, whatever how you want this to look like, you know. You're the artist. It's up to you how you decorate your tree to look it more natural looking, like in a nature. So so I'm gonna tack the other end of this under here, kind of hold it in like that. There you go. So I don't need twine to kind of hold it in place. Now the same thing with the other one. I'm just gonna cover this. So kind of cover the twine also with the moss, you know. So you're not gonna see any twine poking out. Okay. There. Okay guys, so we are done. You see, we mounted it. It looks very natural. They look like a queen sitting on the top of their throne. Alright, now I'm just going to put them on the drip tray. Just make it right there. A lot of dirt. Okay, so I'm using a drip tray, so when I water this, you know, the excess water should drip down here. And you can add decorative rocks or stones, whatever you want. So the purpose of this is, you know, the excess water come down here. It will also create humidity for your orchids. As we all know, orchids love humidity, so that should help that. There. Now, yep, so you can put a decorative rocks. You can also add more moss down here if you want, you know. It's up to you. Another one right there. Okay, now I'm going to water this. So some of you might ask, how do I water this? It's very simple. I don't spray them because orchids needs, you know, lots of water. But like I said, with this method, you are not worried about over watering. So I'm just using this one. So what it did, this is, you know, to water it in the top. Make sure to drench. You see it's dropping in our drip tray. So after I mount the orchids, I water them every morning. And you can also water the moss there. So that's how I water it every morning. So the first one that I made, it's about 2 weeks now, and it's still blooming. It didn't wilt or anything. So that's what I did. I watered them every morning, And then you see the water that comes down to the drip tray, because it is not hot and humid. By the end of the day it evaporates. So like I said, that create humidity for your orchids, which they love. There. And also I'm gonna bring this inside the house. I'm not gonna leave this in the greenhouse because my greenhouse doesn't have a screen, and Phalaenopsis orchids doesn't like direct sunlight. So I'm gonna put them in the front of my window. Okay, so another question that some people ask, how do I fertilize my orchids? So this is what I've been using. It's called Elite Orchid Food. It's 14-12-12. So this is a slow release orchid fertilizer. With this you don't have to worry about over fertilizing your orchids or under fertilizing. So this is good for 6 months. So what I did with this, I cut a square of piece of cheesecloth and then put them here, put a twine around it. And now what I do, if you can see, I put them here in the top, kind of cover it with the moss, you know, put it there. And so every time I water it, it gets fed. Because I don't have time to and I can't keep track when I fertilize last or when I'm gonna fertilize again. So with this I don't have to worry all that. It's a slow release fertilizer. Orchids love it. So yes, I do fertilize them even though when they are blooming. I water them, fertilize them, because they need nutrients. So like I said, by using this one, you don't have to measure or anything like that. You just have to water it. So every time you water it, it gets fed. And also, yeah, like I said, I water mine every morning. And so far my orchids that I mounted, it's about almost 2 weeks now. It didn't get dyed on me or wilted or anything like that. Okay guys, if you have any question, don't hesitate to ask me. Just comment or subscribe. And thank you for watching.